और गाइस, सो यार वेलकम बैक वंस अगेन। अगर आप मेरे चैनल पे नए हो, मेरा नाम निखिलेश है और मैं बर्लिन में रहता हूँ। वीडियो शुरू करने से पहले एक बहुत बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट न्यूज़। मैं इंडिया आ रहा हूँ बहुत जल्दी, तकरीबन 30 शहरों में मैं जाने वाला हूँ। अगर आपको वो जानना है तो डिस्क्रिप्शन में मैंने एक गूगल फॉर्म दिया है, अगर आपको पार्टिसिपेट करना होगा। Alright guys, so welcome back once again. So I'm sitting here with my friend. He is an Android developer. I've already done one video with him. If you want to know his journey of how he came from India to Germany, please go and watch this video, and I'll link the video in the description. What brings him here today is now that he has spent good amount of time in Germany, he's got a job in London now, and that's the update video, that how come someone comes from India, works in Germany, and now he has a job in UK. Before we get into any of this discussion, why don't you give us your introduction, please?
Yeah, sure. So, hi guys, I'm Vicky here, and currently I'm based in Berlin, Germany right now. And I have worked in Android development from 2014, and I have worked in multiple companies of various categories. So, most of them are like social media application, communication based, hyperlocal applications. And I have also worked, like especially if I talk about the Germany, I worked in e-commerce application, and also the one of the biggest fintech product. So yeah, so this is my journey, like about it.
In your current job, which is what you're doing in Berlin, what is your work? What do you do there?
So basically, currently I'm working in a banking sector, and so basically I'm a senior Android engineer right now, and most of the European products, or I would say startup companies, are following the Spotify model. So they divide each team into smaller team, like each feature into smaller team. So basically there are small company within the company kind of thing. So each team is very independent. It consists of like designer, QA, backend engineer, iOS engineer, and data scientist as well. So they work closely. They define the vision and mission for the product and feature separately, and they work on it. And yeah, it's pretty much very collaborative approach. And so basically, if I talk about the technical aspects, most of the products are using Kotlin these days, and I would also recommend that please use Kotlin when you are challenged with some kind of code or any kind of sample feature. And yes, basically also MVVM architecture or MVI architecture would be very helpful if you follow this. And by the way, it's like doesn't matter which architecture you prefer. It's more about how you comfortable, but do it in a proper way so that they can understand it well. So I will also talk about the testing, because it's very important when you given any assignment. Please cover at least 50 to 60% with test cases, because it's very important. And also you have to like write the readme file very well with proper setup. For example, if your project needs to set up some plugins or any kind of separate IDE or whatever, so it's like everything should be mentioned in the readme file so that they can understand it, and they can build it on the one go.
Got it. Let's just quickly talk about your interview process, what you gave for this company in London. Let's start with how many rounds of interview you had, and can you walk us through individually?
Yeah, sure. So I would say it's basically 4 rounds of interview process. Maybe we can start how I find it, because
what platforms did you use?
Yeah, exactly. So basically like the first and most preferable way is LinkedIn. And I would believe like you don't need premium of LinkedIn. You can just directly search and apply. And apart from that, I would say like there is a website called code.co, cord.co.
Okay.
So this is very new, and here I also got many invitations to apply. And the reason for this website is like you can directly connect with some technical engineering manager or tech leads. So there is not only HR but also directly the technical people. So it's a very direct point of communication. They respond very well, like almost 100% response rate that I got so far from this website.
And is that where you got your job from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So so I was being contacted by the technical manager from this company. So this is basically a ticketing service in Europe and UK as well as in India as well. So this company started with the introduction round. The HR sent me the job profile and everything what they expect and I just went through the company website and I gather all the information as much as I can, and then I started with first round, and they basically get to know each other by just giving some information and background about the professional career and what this role about. And there was not only HR but also the engineering manager was there
in the first round itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was the first round. They just we just exchanged some information, and afterwards they sent me a coding challenge. And in
second round.
Yeah, this was the second round. And in the coding challenge, it was basically an app that I have to create, and they were like there was no fixed things that you have to follow this architecture. It was very abstract requirement. So they don't say like, okay, we are expecting this or you should follow this, but ultimately they have some guidelines. So for example, they see in each aspect, for example, testing approach, the layered architecture, how good is the UI, and are you following all the Google guidelines for creating the project, and are you writing proper documentation, as I said previously as well. So I just keep in mind all this aspect, and I prepared the solution, and I sent them, and they took like 2 or 3 weeks to review it, and they approached me back. And after that there was a system design interview, and here they asked me there was a tool called Miro, and we have to create a system design flow. So they were like they had one design and they showed me by sharing their screen, and I have to create a system, the architecture for that design. And it was basically 1-to-1 round. There was like one Android lead and one senior engineer in that round, and we discuss how I will approach in that particular scenario. And after that this was whole one interview. This was the first part, and the second part was discussion about my solution, how I can improve it, and why I used some specific things. So whatever you are using is like you have to have some solid reason that why you are using it, and that would be really helpful. It's not necessarily that if something is in any kind of thing you are comfortable with, it's like they need to see, okay, why you are using, and how it's going to be beneficial in a very huge scalable project.
So this was fourth round already?
No, this was the part of the third round.
Okay.
So the third round was consist of 2 parts.
Got it, yeah.
And after this, there was a fourth round, and the fourth round was with the product owner. It was with product owner and again the engineering manager, which was already in the first round. And we talk about the specific things. So it was more like there was no standard pattern or something, but they asked me, okay, what questions you have. And from the first point of questions, they start digging up in the deep, like for example, they were asking that you already downloaded the application from the Play Store, which is already live, and which part you like most. And for example, like they were asking how you are going to track the things, like for example, analytics events or something. So it was more about like one-to-one, the conversation rather than the complete interview. And after that the final round was with HR. So it was basically just some negotiations and what you prefer and what you not, and company benefits and everything.
Right. At any given point in the entire process of interview, which was the phase where you felt really challenged?
I think the second round, which was the technical assignment, it was very single line requirement that I want this feature, that's it. But when I visited the website, they provided some documentation that you have to use these APIs. So it was not easy to understand at the first, because it was like, I think the API was developed in 90s or something, and they intentionally sent me this requirement that how I approach in this modern architecture.
Right.
So the first thing that I kept into my mind was no matter like what is the backend is doing, but the front end can handle it very well, and we can provide it in very smooth and sleek design. So this was the first thing, and it took like 1 week completely to create a very refined solution. So in case I would be recruiter, I would definitely see how you are like writing the code in a good way, and how you are following all the guidelines. So basically there is, for example, Jetpack Compose is already running in the market, and people want to see like how good the performance is and how you are using it. So this is just one example, but there are so many other things like animations are there or not, the screen transition is proper or not. So all these small things matter a lot, because for also the error handling is there, the screen rotation is handled or not. So the small thing matters a lot, because the basic functionality will not be so much big. It's just a simple list, but how you doing it and how many cases you are handling is very important.
I mean, I'm sure the salary is worth the jump what you're making.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to know exact salary of yours, but if you can give us a range for people to have some understanding,
Mm-hmm.
what are you getting?
Yeah, sure. So I would say like finding a company who is sponsoring the candidate is a little bit tricky, because they have to pay the fees to the government, then they also pay relocation fees and everything. So sometimes I see that whether you are applying for some profile, and they give slightly less salary as compared to market standard, but the important thing is like if you really want to go there, and you want to get this job, and if you think that okay they will increase it in future, then I think it's not a bad idea. So I would say, like, if I talk about the range for a senior developer, it should be 70 to 80k in pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it's pretty much decent because it's basically they also provide some stock options as well, and some company benefits are there, and the most important thing is like they providing the fees for immigrations and all the government fees. So yeah, I think it's worth.
Any last message of yours when we say goodbye?
Yeah, sure. I would say like please be natural, like don't do over engineering your approach, and keep it simple, because if things are not readable, they don't put too much efforts to go deep, and yeah, so I would say it's like simplicity is the most important thing.
With that message, I would like to say thank you so much for joining. If you like this video, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, and I'm gonna see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.